And here we go.
Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. This is the meeting of the Teton County Library Board. It's January 24th, 2024. And all of us are here in one way or another. I see Vicki is also on Zoom with me, and Mary Lee and Peg and Stan are in the room. In addition to Kip and Stella. Did I miss anybody else? Oh, and Lindsay.
That's it.
Great. Okay, well, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Hopefully everybody had a chance to look at the agenda. Does anybody want to make a motion to adopt the January agenda?
Removed.
Great. I could not see who that was. Was that Peg?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Okay, great. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Wonderful. There was the inclusion of minutes from the last 4 meetings that we have had. The regular, the special, and 2 voucher meetings. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I will make the motion to approve all 4 minutes.
Thank you, Vicki. Do I have a second?
Second, Mary Lee.
Mary Lee, thank you. Any discussion? Anything off or?
I guess I have a question.
Sure.
Why didn't we approve the October meeting minutes at the November?
Because it's just a voucher meeting.
Oh, it was a voucher.
We don't conduct any other business.
Yeah. And this is Peggy. I'm going to recuse myself from approving the October and November board meeting minutes because I was not here. I assume that's the right thing you did.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's not always
Okay.
how it is.
Thank you. All right. We had a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor then of approving the minutes of these 4 meetings?
Aye.
Aye. Great.
One abstention.
And 1 abstention, thank you. Great. Any correspondence you want to mention, Kip?
There was no correspondence, so it's an easy one.
Okay, great. And public comment. Besides Diana, who it's great that Diana has joined us, we don't have any members
Nope.
that I see. Okay.
And nobody's here.
And nobody's in the room. Okay. Let's see. So we're moving on to the consent agenda and the finance report. Stella, thank you so much for this. Do you want to say anything about the report?
Yes, thank you, Lisa. I
Okay.
do have several items to note.
Great.
One is, this is the first report in which I've given you information on our passport services. The passport services did start here in mid-October. Therefore, this is the first report you have. We do collect a fee per applicant. That's a $35 fee. That fee is set by the U.S. Department of State. The other fee that we collect is, so every batch of applications are sent out via priority mail. We absorb that cost. It's $9 and change cost. However, if somebody chooses to send their application in a rushed process, then they do pay us for that additional postage. To note is that additional postage is not earmarked anywhere specifically. It's just collected in the overall passport revenue. So you don't see that delineation of extra funding that we receive from postage. And then in terms of the postage we pay for priority mail, again, that's not earmarked specifically under our postage expenditure fund. So it's just, we know we're doing it, but presumably that's coming out of our passport fees that we're collecting the revenue. As of Sunday, the Postal Service did increase their fees. This time last year, the U.S. Department of State also increased their fees. So I've been checking daily to see if they're going to tell us to increase our service fee or any other fees. But at this point, that has not happened. So the other item I want to make note of, the projected income for fiscal 24 is $42,000. However, since we didn't start passport services until mid-October, I'm not sure that we're going to hit that projected amount. And that's, again, because that was for the entire fiscal year. We haven't been doing this the entire fiscal year. So we'll see. I also want to make note, this fiscal year, I started providing an additional spreadsheet that was called the Capital Reserve Report. And that was basically to highlight expenses that were paid for through our operating budget. But because we have to do that through our operating budget, those expenses were not necessarily then getting deducted in the reports that you were seeing in terms of what is on the balance sheet statement for capital reserves. Effective this month, I'm no longer going to be reproducing that report because that information is now noted in the expenditure and detail report. So now it's clear on the reports from the county what, if any, capital expenditure there was, and then the transfer of those funds to, excuse me, not funds, transfer of those expenses to the capital reserve fund so that it automatically gets deducted out of that fund. The other report to make notice of, and this was just a change this late afternoon, so I'm hoping you all got to see this in Teams. Traditionally, we've produced for you two profit and loss statement reports. Oh, sorry, Lisa, now we're seeing you on the screen. Those profit and loss reports we've produced from QuickBooks, one would be the month previous and then also year to date. However, our county documents are really the most, I want to say accurate, but also official documents that we should have. And so the county does produce something called an expenditure and appropriations report, which lists where we're at per year or within the year. And I did upload that to the Teams folder this afternoon. And we also uploaded it to our agenda. And again, I apologize if you did not get to see this report, but the idea would be that I'd like to bring to the table is that we would be providing you this report now in lieu of the profit and loss reports that we used to give in QuickBooks from QuickBooks.
Okay.
And it still provides you with information of where the library is at year to date in dollar amounts and also in terms of our percentage of expenditure. So the other item I have, and this may require more explanation in the future from Abigail Moore. But one of the things that's new this year per Wyoming state statute, and I did include this information in the financial narrative, is that the library is required to submit a budget hearing notice to the Department of Audit annually. Also, we need to now notify the public of the date when the library board will be approving the fiscal year budget. Okay. We need to notify the Department of Audit by the third week of July, which means that the current pacing of the July meeting would need to be changed or to have a special meeting regarding the budget come July so that we can give timely notification to the Department of Audit. Also wrapped into this will be another item that library staff will need to do, per a conversation I had with somebody at the Department of Audit. Public noticing on our website will not be sufficient. We need to also notice it in several different ways, including in the newspaper and including possibly posting it over at the county administration building and so forth. So there's going to be some slight changes that staff will need to do as well. But the main thing I think for you all to know is just the fact that there will need to either be a special meeting for the budget or changing the date.
Actually, there will not need to be.
Oh.
Because we do not have a board meeting schedule that we adopt until the July meeting. And so by default, our July meeting is the third Thursday at 9 a.m., I believe. So that's within the first 3 weeks of July.
Okay,
But if anything changes, there could still be a need for a special meeting, but we should be okay.
So is it going back to 9 a.m. in the summer?
No, just for July, because we don't adopt our schedule until the new board is seated. And we can only do it through June 30th, through June. So our default meeting in the bylaws is the third Thursday at 9 a.m.
Okay. Okay.
okay.
And I don't know how specific this language is. It just states that the budget approval meeting must take place by the third Thursday. So I don't know what what that word by, how stringent that is. So
Okay.
that may be something we
We'll
need
investigate
to
further.
investigate. Yes. So those are all the items I wanted to highlight for all of you. I don't know if you have any questions over all of that.
Just out of curiosity, the funding that you get, or the library gets for passport services, how much of that goes to the government?
So the fee that we collect, the $35 fee, does not go to the state or to the State Department. It's strictly revenue that we take in. But the idea is, this was the year that we did hire somebody full-time in circulation. That person had been part-time. And the idea was that that person, part of the funding for that staff salary was to come from passports, and they're also a passport agent. And the idea was that they would also possibly be working more hours than the other passport agents. So that was some of that thought process there.
Do you feel, in your great math skills you have, is it a break-even service for the community?
I have not done that calculation in terms of the staff person's hourly rate in relation to what we've taken in relation to the postage that we've spent for priority mail, which that is also mandated by the State Department, is that we do have to send the applications via priority mail. I could certainly do that calculation, but that is something I had not done yet.
It's just a curiosity. It's not, I mean, I think it's a wonderful service that we have. So.
Yeah. And
just off the top of my head, I would guess we don't quite break even, just given the high rate of pay in Teton County, and the postage is fairly expensive. So,
well, and I think the service is far outweighs the cost. You know, that we have that competition before.
And currently we have 8 staff who are passport agents. And as part of that calculation, not everybody is at the same pay scale. For example, Kip is one of our passport agents. So, you know, there's different pay scales per the time that each agent is spending processing the passport application, so.
Just to make it clear, I'm not asking for you to figure that out. I just was curious, so.
Yeah. But that would seem like something we would probably want to have a rough idea of, so. Yeah. Any other questions?
I find these to be very confusing reports. And so I guess my question is, how in-depth does this board get? They're not your standard balance sheet and P&L and from what I can see. So I'm curious to know what our responsibility is. I get it, I get the overview, but not to the level of detail.
May I ask, can I say something?
Vicky?
I get what Peggy's saying. However, I'm pretty amazed at Estella's detail in her various documents that come with her report. And she summarized some really important things for us. Is that adequate? I would like to hear what other people say about that.
So to be clear, like your balance sheet, your revenue, your expenditure, and now this other report that I uploaded today, those are produced by the county. So I'm not producing those, so.
As a board member, do have fiduciary responsibility. Your review of the vouchers monthly is probably the most important piece. Looking at, the reports that mostly are generated by the county to ensure that, it looks like we're, right now we should be about 50% through our budget. Are we there? You might want to have questions about why are we not spending in this account or that account. So I think, yes, the reports there's a lot of, but the basics of it would be, does it look like the library is spending the money the way we said we would spend it? And would you be comfortable in telling the community that, yes, the library is being responsible with its money?
Yeah, I guess I have faith that, when I look through, there are little things that are like, why does it say Wilson Bridge that? I'm a little confused about some of these kinds of things. So I don't know how in depth we want to get on them. But I'm looking at the 2312 revenue report.
Ending October 31st.
Revenue report.
Oh, I see. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. So basically, what's also included on this page, it's, if you look at the very top up to the bold where it says total Teton County Library.
Got it.
So this, the way that the report is produced, it's also pulling like the next department does the next account number from ours. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I'm sorry if I hadn't explained that clearly before. So
it's just the part that we really care about is just the top of the page.
yes,
Yes.
it's
Okay.
just that.
Okay, that's very
next.
confusing. Okay, because it's a county report, not a
Yeah.
library report.
Right.
Thank you for good clarification.
But just think, Peggy, you get the inside scoop on what's going on outside.
Everywhere. Thank you.
And then the expenditure report, I like to think of that as just basically your check register, your bank statement, because that shows what check numbers the county allocated to pay the various items. And then we go into QuickBooks and pay those bills with those check numbers. Or occasionally it might be an internal transfer of funds with a different number.
Any reports? Okay.
But why does the library receive the grant funds?
It doesn't.
But it, under Teton County Library in the middle of that spreadsheet, it says build grant funds received.
Which report? It's just the top.
Here, it's October, it's November 15. Wait, no, month ending October 31st, 2023. Here, I'll show you right here. So it says Teton County Library, and then it says build grant funds.
So that's gonna be the next department. So if you just wanna look at just up to the bolded line that says Teton County Library.
Above.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I didn't understand it. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
Yeah, that is weird.
we're the account that starts 20-3.
20-3.
Yes.
Okay.
Right at the top of the page. Okay.
That is very helpful. I just want to say, I also think they're very confusing, incredibly confusing. And I assume that you're on it. And that if I ever have to step into the position of treasurer, I would sit down with Stella and really go over all the documents and try to understand them better. So maybe that's being a lazy board member, I don't know, but someday maybe I won't be so lazy and I'll.
Well, and I'm more than happy to have a meeting with any one of you if you wanted to do that.
Poor Stella had me in her office for over 2 hours the first time I went through all those financials, all those check vouchers. And she does a really nice job of explaining what's going on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would internally, that's true. The reports from the county are kind of strange.
Yeah, they're like up in a cloud somewhere.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, I have to say, this is Lisa, that Stella, your narrative is like over and above super helpful for me. And I am not a spreadsheet person and I'm not a financial person. So I remember sitting down with Peter Stalker when I was taking over this, and I said, I need to know what I'm supposed to be looking for, because if we have oversight and I want to take that really seriously, but all of those numbers, I don't know what to compare them to. And so it's like, I trust that if Stella thinks they're fine, and I mostly trust the county, but that doesn't feel like I'm totally doing my job either. So I don't know if there's some way that wouldn't be totally onerous for you, but to just pull out in a one-page narrative, this is where we are year to date. Any other just like abnormality that you might want to point out, or maybe there's just a little time where you might walk us through one of them. We could share a screen. I don't know. I don't want to ask too much, but I also just feel, I've been on this board now a year. I'm not sure I'm that much better than I was a year ago regarding the financials.
And it's also, we've been going through this transition, right? From you doing the reports one way and now the county. So don't we have like two eyes on the budget at all time? The county and the library, and the budget's going back and forth between the two entities. So it just seems like that's a lot of eyes on a budget for any, malfeasance or anything like that. But at the same time, if there are several of us who feel like we need to understand the documents better, it might be better to ask Stella to give us a little, as a group, rather than each of us going in and taking Stella's time to understand better.
Yeah, looking through them, I feel good about maybe a little bit of an overview. It is our responsibility. Past boards that I've been on, it might just be, and you've done a great job with the staff report and pointing things out, sometimes to just go through one of the spreadsheets and just highlight 3 key, things to stand out, like why is one number at 100% or 90% versus where we're typically. So and I think then we can learn over time also more about what to look over rather than 10 pages of wages and overtime. Like that's not,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem that that would be a good use of our time. So it's just a suggestion maybe for the next meeting. Or as the treasurer, perhaps that's something I present if it helps all of us.
And I mean, it seems like we should have all of those documents at our, available to us, but it's very overwhelming to have so many documents. And if we just had something more summarized, that it, yeah.
I'm happy to do that. I'm thinking a previous board, I did at one point do kind of a general summary of like that for general overall account area. So maybe I could do something like that in the monthly report, and then also speak to it, certainly if anybody has any questions. So
That'd be great.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
One of the cool things about this is not too unfamiliar from my past work at a university and being a department chair. We had layers of this stuff, and one of the nice things about it is there is somebody over Stella as well,
Right.
who looks at the budget, and there are times that, even in my experience in my department, there are times that they made mistakes and they picked up on it, and we were able to correct them. So it's a pretty nice system in that way, that there's layers, and it's just not Stella doing everything. Well, we all look at it. So,
and to that point, and I did mention this in my talk, but there was one report I put in your team's folder yesterday that was just one page. And the reason is that I had noticed there was an oddity in the November report about the description for that item. And I reached out to the treasurer's office, and it turned out there was a glitch. The amount was right. It's just the description for that item was not correct. And so that's why I uploaded just the revised one page, just so that that is in there and documented. So yeah, mistakes can happen. They don't seem to happen very often, fortunately, but.
That's great. Thank you so much, Stella. And I do think, while I think several of us would benefit from, like what Peg said, a highlight here or there, it's also just a really nice financial control that all of these reports are publicly accessible and makes for everything being really transparent. And I appreciate that. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns for discussion? Otherwise, I would take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve the January 2024 consent agenda. That's very good.
Thanks, Mary Lee. Second?
second.
Stan, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great. We'll move on to Kip's report.
Sorry, it was really, really long. 3 months to report out on. But I will stick to probably the info on the first page or so as highlights. I got in trouble the last time I said this, but at the moment, the library is fully staffed. We said goodbye to a couple of part-time library assistants in the fall, and we have since hired somebody back who had left us, and we hired a new senior library assistant, and on wood, we'll stay fully staffed for a while. Everybody, I think it's been very good hires, and it's a really good, strong team right now. So we're sitting in the Wonder Lab that officially opened earlier this month. I've been away, as you know, for health purposes, so I haven't gotten a good report from Callie to say how it's going, but anecdotally, we've had a lot of positive comments in the library, out of the library, in the community. People seem to be excited. We've had some nice ads in the newspaper, and I do know on the opening day, we had people waiting to get in, and within an hour, we had about 10 people in here. So there are some little bugs with scheduling, and we're finding four people might want to learn how to use 4 different pieces of equipment, and they're here at the same time, and it's hard for one person to train 4 people on 4 different pieces of equipment. So we are trying to figure out how to sort of make her life easier. And the reciprocal borrowing agreement between us and the Valley of the Tetons Library officially kicked off last week, and it's been well received on both sides. I know Eva was saying today they've maybe done 30 to 45 cards for the folks over on that side. And in my report, you saw some of the comments in the Valley of the Teton trips. So I think we're off to a really good start there.
I love the comments.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just highlight that we had an incident here at the end of November with a patron who had, in a previous report, had been just excluded from the library for 30 days. And he did return and was not able to maintain his civility, I guess, with staff and patrons. And it was a rather unfortunate incident, and he was trespassed, and staff, we are doing some mental health first aid trainings for staff to help sort of navigate those waters and how to deal with it should it happen again. So those are my highlights, and then there's lots of statistics. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
It was a great report, Kip. I don't have any questions. Does anybody else have a question or a comment for Kip?
Thorough as usual.
The library and staff have been extremely great stuff.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have a report from the Library Foundation and Friends?
We don't have a written one, but Diana just got here from her board meeting. And I think we have an oral update.
Wonderful. Hi, Diana.
Hi, thank you. I know, I just want to apologize to everyone that I did not submit a written report this time. I told Kip, if you'll just help me, I will definitely send you a written report via email or to Kip to send. But I did want to just share with you just a couple things, that the Foundation and Friends are absolutely thrilled with everything that's going on at the library, and what Kip just left our meeting and shared the work plan and what's been going on. And we're just so excited about all of the programs, of course, the beloved programs that have been around for many years, and then the new programs like the Brainstorm Speaker Series and the Makerspace and the van, and we could go on, but we are super thrilled. We're seeing a ton of folks share feedback about how they want to even support the library more. In fact, at the Brainstorm Speaker Series meet and greet, we had 2 folks approach us and say, we want to know how we can give to the library. And so we are so excited about that. I want to share with you that we just gave our financial reporting through December 31st. And 2 things to note. We have, and you may have already heard this, we had a record-breaking annual benefit. So we raised $164,850, and it's the most we've raised at the benefit. And so we're thrilled about that. And so for this through Q2, December 31st, we have provided to the library spending of $364,760 of the $786,745 budgeted for the fiscal year. So we're almost halfway at the halfway point. We're almost halfway spent, which again is also very pleasing to the Foundation and Friends, because I know you know, it's a joy to see the funding requests being utilized for these great programs. So that's it. Other than that, I wanted to share that we have a brand new board member, Diane Winder, just joined the board. So she just began her term January 1. So if any of you know Diane, welcome her to our library family. And also wanted to share with you, as part of our strategic plan, we've launched our comprehensive communications program. So we've started a monthly e-newsletter. You should be receiving that in your email. Our first e-newsletter was launched in October. So far we've had 3 go out. If you are not receiving those, please let me know. Send me an email. I want to add you to our email list so that you can be receiving that information from the Foundation and Friends.
Diana, yes. Is that our personal email or our library email?
Whichever one you'd like to provide. You can provide whichever one.
I did it both.
And Kip, are these your glasses?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you.
Want to come back in.
Great. All right, so we are going to move on to the staff report regarding the cleaning contract. Do you want to say anything more about that report? It was pretty self-explanatory, Kip, but
I think I would like to leave comments as short as possible on this one.
Yep.
I think just that we would like to terminate the contract. And I believe you all received a privileged memo from Abigail Moore that gave some background information and just explained why it's possible to do this. And so I'm happy to answer any questions, but I think there was a lot of information provided.
Do we have another cleaning company lined up?
Rick is going to call 3 vendors and get a quote for sort of just basic cleaning at the moment in the short term while we work on an RFP for a contract. So we can spend up to $7,500 over the next few months without needing to go out to bid or without a contract. So we should be okay. I think in the very short term, it'll probably continue to be Rick and some of the staff helping out over there, which is sort of what it's been anyway. So.
Thanks, Kip. Does anybody else have any questions regarding this topic? I will make the motion then to terminate the Alta Branch cleaning contract with White Glove Professional Cleaning with an effective date of February 29th, 2024.
It's a leap year.
I second your motion, Lisa.
Thanks, Vicki. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great, motion passes. Moving on to the staff report regarding the exemptions from the updates to the Teton County Policy Manual. I'll give it back to you, Kip.
So the Teton County HR Policy Manual, and I believe there's now another section in there that includes non-HR policies. So it's a complete policy manual. And last year was the first year that we realized the board has to adopt this every year because we don't adhere to every single policy in that manual. And so with a new version that just came out that the commissioners approved, we do need to reiterate that we do not participate in those 4 policies as outlined in the report. Otherwise, we follow everything else in the manual and we're I think been fortunate to have a lot of those policies.
Very thorough.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions about that? And if not, does someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we adopt, or I guess anyway, we're gonna go through this process.
Here, do you want to read it? Oh, do you have it?
I move to approve the resolution adopting the 2024 Teton County Policy Manual, except for those policies as set forth in the presented resolution.
Thanks, Stan. Peg seconds.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
And I will need your signature when you're feeling better. And Lisa, on the resolution.
Oh, on that resolution. Okay.
I didn't want to send all of them to you today. So.
I know, I was like, we could do it that way. And I think I still need to sign for the makerspace.
Yeah, I have that here too.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you. I'm seriously in the library many times a week. It's just ironic that today I'm not feeling well the day of the meeting. So I'm sorry. I will get it. Would you like to say anything about the work plan, which I found really impressive? Having run an organization with a strategic plan, I never had a rainbow colored chart like you do. So good job. And again, like just a lot of really wonderful things happening. And the accountability piece is really impressive.
It's mostly there as I presented it, just so you know where we are. For the fiscal year, we're doing going gangbusters. So I think you talked to the staff being so busy. Stan, yeah, I'm surprised we've been able to do so much in 6 months, but it's exciting.
Well done. I have a question, if I may.
You may.
Okay. I noticed that one of the goals was to advocate for the restoration of the library bus stop on the town shuttle. And the board is actually appointed as one of the movers for that item. And I just wondered if it wouldn't be a good idea for board members. The county has organized public meetings on February 6th and 7th. It's called a Regional Transportation Expo. And I'm just wondering if it might be helpful for each of us to attend one of those and talk to the START director and talk to county staff and just, if all of us mentioned it, maybe it would get a little bit more on the radar. Or do you have an explanation of why we're having trouble getting that done?
I don't know. I have contacted the START folks 2 or 3 times via email, explaining why we think it's important. Previous board member Nina Lenz was an advocate and at one point had thought that the stop was going to be restored for the shuttle, but it wasn't. And we've never really gotten an explanation or a response.
Is it the shuttle stop here on Snow King Avenue?
Yeah, the one out here.
Yeah, so they don't stop there anymore.
The bus that goes out to the village stops there, but the in-town shuttle does not. It stops over on Scott Lane. And because we have all of the services we offer. We have a food pantry, we have after school. And so there's a lot of reasons why, out here would be much more convenient than having people walk over from Scott Lane.
I know
and it
that
used to go down Snow King, and now it's Scott Lane and Broadway, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to keep traffic off of Snow King.
Well, I am definitely attending the
one in Wilson.
The one in Wilson on February 7th, and I will put in a word for the Wilson school. I mean, for the library.
Yes, Vicki.
I will try to attend that also, Mary Lee, at Wilson. And I know part of the reason why this is an issue, it's because of the traffic on Snow King and the fact that on our road, you can't get out onto Broadway except at only a few times during the day. Turning left, of course, you can turn right. So that I think they'd have to change their routes. And that might be something to address with them at one or both of these meetings.
Thanks for bringing that up, both of you. Any other questions about the work plan?
I love it.
Color makes all the difference.
I did these colorful things at Public Health too.
Oh, I also just wanted to express that I'm very excited that there's going to be coffee at the library very soon.
Soon.
And good coffee, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will there also be tea for those of us who don't drink coffee?
I believe so.
They have tea.
Maybe snacks too.
Awesome. Ooh. That's exciting. Great. Okay. Moving on to the update regarding what we used to call the Tri-Board. Since the merger of Friends and Foundation, we're calling it the Co-Lab, and I forget what that stands for. Coalition of Library.
I forget.
Administrative boards.
It's collaboration in short, but I don't remember what the acronym was now. Yes.
But for you newer board members, the idea remains that I think, you know, it's just pretty fruitful if we can get together casually. Quarterly, I believe, is when we do it, to talk about just how things are going. And so that usually involves only two of us, either the library board chair and another person, Kip and Diana, and sometimes one of Diana's board members. The last time we met was the first time since the merger. It used to also include, obviously, Friends as a separate entity. And that was back in, gosh, I think early December. And it was really good to connect, hear how things are going. We talked about, you know, future gatherings for both library staff and both boards. We had a Christmas party last year, one of the Foundation Friends board members hosted. That's my recollection of mostly what we talked about. I don't know, Kip, if you have anything, and I'm not sure, do we have another date set?
We do not have another date set, and it was mostly just a meeting to sort of figure out what we were going to look like going forward. Right. We did talk about a proposal from the schools about vending machines in the schools for books. But we didn't come to any conclusions. I think somebody was going to do more information gathering.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, stay tuned. And once we have another date set, if someone would like to attend that with me on behalf of the board, that'd be great. Vicki.
I would attend with you because technically I'm one of the volunteers on the Friends.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
But I haven't done a whole lot recently. But I'm going to be gone the first week of March.
Okay. And I'm not really sure because we don't have a next date, but I'll circulate, or we will circulate once we know.
Okay. Sounds perfect.
Okay, thanks.
Just an FYI, it's Coalition of Library Affiliated Boards.
Oh, that's
perfect. Nice. Okay. I don't think I would have guessed that. So thank you. Okay, so our last agenda item is library vouchers. Peg, would you like to say anything about the vouchers? And or make a motion.
Exciting to review them. And I am moved to approve the payment of the library vouchers.
Do
And
we
I
have a second? Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Well, I think that that's it for our agenda.
Yes.
If I had known it was going to go this fast, I probably would have come.
Oh,
So, I have a question. A lot of questions. On the Teton County Library website, on the board page, it has the meeting dates. How do I know, like, which ones are just like the approval of the, what are they called?
The vouchers.
The vouchers. Which ones are voucher meetings? Is it on there?
The only one that we have left is April.
April is the next voucher meeting. Okay.
And then the new board in July will determine.
Oh, right. Okay.
November, December, and April this year.
any other questions, discussion? I can't remember. Do we need a motion to adjourn? Right. If there isn't another question or discussion about something, going once.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Vicky. I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Thank you all so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Feel better.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Hey, take care, everybody.